Hi guys, how are you?
Hi, Rachel. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So to start, first of all, hey, when you are bringing a thing like TED back in years later, because I think I was in high school or college when the first TED came out, and you are setting it even further back than the original was, what are the challenges of kind of navigating a new world for Ted as a story and even bringing it into a different format? Because now with the show, it is a completely different format technically. I know that sounds weird, but it's not a movie anymore.
Yeah,
We're putting
No,
it in a TV format.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we had to sort of try to match the tone of the films while still obviously making it into a TV show. Luckily, in going backwards, it's a period of time that hasn't been explored in those characters' lives, so that freed us up a bit. But we had to be mindful that we were A, keeping the tone, and B, building a bridge to in a way that made sense to those films, at least making it consistent, if not the same.
and some of those challenges were I kind of think what drew us to the project to begin with, like recreating the '90s and making sure everything was authentic and looked real was a really fun part of the job. And then learning and sort of exploring what John and Ted's family looked like, and bringing in a character like Blair, played by Georgia Wiggum, was I think sort of a nice way to round out the whole world.
Yeah, there is also, I guess it's the added challenge of this is so set in Boston because, it is, that's where Ted is. That is when you are making it set in the 90s in Boston, then having to have all these actors kind of bringing those Bostonisms to life. Is that something that you guys ever were like, wait, maybe we just make them live not there so that you don't have to worry about Boston accents? They do a great
Yeah.
job,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
it
well,
is, yeah.
conveniently, Paul and I are both from New England, and we're like in our early 20s and the early 90s. So we are, it came very naturally to us. But yeah, it did provide some challenges, especially in production. And then, you had to sort of make sure either the accents were authentic or not there, because a bad accent is just not something you want to hear. So yeah, those were some challenges.
Yeah, luckily we had a pretty strong New England contingent in the writers' room, and I think even on the cast. So it made those things come more easily than I think it would on other shows.
And I just think Ted is just such a funny concept, which is why has worked so well throughout the years because it's just, this talking teddy bear that is chaotic. And I think that's why we have kind of navigate towards him. What has been the fun of getting to write that for this kind of the new generation? Because I do like seeing the origins of John and Ted's relationship as it was in the 90s when it's kind of innocent in a lot of ways. Like it's not
Yeah.
as we
That
see
occurred
it
to us
later.
as well. I mean, so Seth wrote the pilot, and one of the things I remember reacting to initially, first of all, was just how funny it was, but then there's an innocence to both those characters that I found refreshing, and also sort of made it all worth telling, because now you can sort of follow these characters, especially John, as he goes through a series of firsts, the way that you go through a series of firsts when you're that age, which, like you said, is fun because there's an innocence to it and an excitement that's sort of genuine. And it's also great, like when you're making episodic TV, to have that kind of a story engine, because when you're looking at a blank page or a blank whiteboard, and you can go like, okay, so what are some of the big moments of teenage years, and that gets a room going, because everyone has a story from then.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, one of the things, the core of the movies is the friendship between John and Ted. And I think even in their later years, there's this sweetness to their friendship, and
Mhm.
exploring like how that developed when they were teenagers, was really exciting, and appealed to us and sort of drew us to the project.
I'm also realizing, as you asked this question, and I haven't thought about it this way yet, is that you're talking to two guys who met in high school, having conversations all the time late at night. And so probably writing a show about two guys who met in high school or whatever, who in high school, who are having late night conversations about all life probably came naturally to us.
Like it was real easy.
Yeah. Honestly, I was thinking it was more of a challenge than it was until just now. I realized, oh, we're writing down the thing that happened to us.
Also, thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really
Of course.
appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Thanks. Have a great one.
Thank you.